We need to walk in the power of the prophecy that has been given to us as the house of Israel. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, Day 4 of Vayikhi, as we continue now in chapter number 49. Yesterday, I mentioned that Yaakov received the Bechira from El Shaddai at a place called, I erroneously said Luz, it's Luz, at a place called Luz. So why mention the ancient name of a place that he has subsequently called Bethel? Luz means almond tree. Now, almond trees are the first that bear fruit in the land of Israel early in the spring. It is an early indicator, a prophetic understanding of things. When Yirmiyahu or Jeremiah was first called to be a prophet, one of the first visions that he received was that of an almond tree. You'll also remember that in the instructions that Moshe was given pertaining to building the menorah, that it is to be in the shape of an almond tree. That is, that it had blossoms and knops and flowers and then budding fruit, and that it was that of an almond opened up. So, in a way then, a menorah, symbolic of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, is a tree of light, an almond tree of light, or illumination that is a prophecy tree. It's interesting that when Korach led a rebellion against Moshe and against the Levitical priesthood in the house of Aaron, that rods from the leadership of each tribe were placed in the presence of the Most High overnight, and it was Aaron's rod, evidently an almond tree rod, that budded, bore almonds as fruit. It's also significant to me that Aaron's name means light bearer or light bringer, depending on your translation. So this man whose name means the bringer of light, the bearer of light, carries an almond tree rod that is bearing fruit of the illumination of the Ruach HaKodesh. Powerful connections here. So prophecy is connected then with the idea of an almond tree or Luz. Yaakov may be mentioning the name of this ancient town or this ancient location as such to indicate I am entering now into the spirit of prophecy. He evidently was indeed a prophet. As he begins to direct his attention toward Joseph and his grandsons, I've just mentioned to you yesterday that he decreed that these two young men, now in their late teens, they were born prior to Yaakov arriving. He lived 17 years in the land. They're late teens, early 20s at this point. Yet they are said to have been moved from between the knees of Joseph to be positioned before his father Yaakov. Joseph significantly places Manasseh on his right side, Ephraim on his left, so that whatever blessing that his father is about to bestow, that the right hand, a bit more favor, would be placed on the elder Manasseh, the left hand on the younger Ephraim. Before he does so, Yaakov significantly asked, "Whose are these? Who are these young men?" It also says in the text that his eyes were growing dim. Now, he knew who was there with him. He had already spoken about these two young men, significantly decreeing that they were now his sons. So why would he ask their identity? Perhaps this points back to the time that he stole into the tent of Yitzhak, whose eyes were dim, impersonating Esau, and received a blessing that was not initially intended for him, at least according to Yitzhak's understanding. Now Yaakov makes sure. Whose are these? This is your sons, Manasseh. This is Ephraim. And the text says that he wittingly, with understanding, crosses his hands, placing the right hand of favor upon the younger Ephraim, the left hand with the lesser blessing on the elder Manasseh. Joseph is upset by this and understands, you're making a mistake, Daddy. No, I know what I am doing. And listen to the wording here as he says, the Elohim before whom my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak walk, the Elohim who has fed me all my life long to this day. Then he equates the Elohim of Abraham and of Yitzhak with verse 16, the messenger who has redeemed me from all evil. Now may he bless the youths. The Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzhak, one and the same, is also the messenger of redemption. You and I are beneficiaries of this moment. Most of us are already well aware from, especially Batya Wooten's writings and all that she has inspired from her book, Who is Israel? What the significance of this moment really is. We find that Yaakov is blessing these two sons, and he says in verse 16, let them grow into a vayidagu larav, and to a multitude like fish in the midst of the earth. From that we find then the significance of Yeshua calling his followers, his Talmudim, his disciples, to come after me, and I will make you fishers of men. He said later on in the book of Matthew chapter 15, I have only come for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He was significantly calling these men to work with him, to go and to find these who are a multitude like fish, and to fish them, to find them. He prophesies that Manasseh is to become a great nation, singular. But then he says that Ephraim will become the Melo HaGoim. He will become the fullness of the nations, the fullness of the Gentiles. And of course, we see this played out in Romans chapter 11, verse 25 and 26. And also it's spoke of in Ephesians 2, 11 through 14 and verse 19 as well. But there's one other aspect of this I want to mention to you. Backing up just a little bit, he makes an obscure reference. And he says that he buried Joseph's mother, Rachel, by the side of the road in a place called Padan, fields of Ephrath. Ephrath means an ash heap or a fruitless place. It's close to the city of Bethlehem, a house of bread. So is it possible that Yaakov, again in the spirit and the power of prophecy, is prophetically announcing here that a people who are called to be fruit-bearing will initially become fruitless, living in an ash heap. Maybe we could say an ash heap of fallenness, an ash heap of fallen ideals or structures or societies. But their root, the prophesied root, is that they be fruitful and fruit-bearing. And in order to do that, they must return to the fruit in their root, to come out of the fields of barrenness in order to reach the house of the abundance of bread. If you and I are going to be fruitful, we need to return to our root. And we need to do so with gladness and with great joy and with great anticipation. You and I are significant. We're a part of the restoration of the house of Israel found in the stick of Joseph, Ephraim. Let's rise up and claim that which is prophetically ours. Until tomorrow's conclusion, shalom.